Good morning. I want to thank everybody who joins us. My name is Olha, and it's my pleasure to see all of you here in Ukraine Media Center. Today we have invited you to discuss a very important topic. We will discuss a human resource pool for future deoccupation. We will be talking about the results of the program that was presented a little bit earlier in our platform. And now we are about to discuss the ending of the training. Today there was a graduation of the first Reintegration Management Program pilot group, and we will even have the participants who are about to share their experience. So let me introduce our speakers. Joining us in our studio are Olha Kuryshko, Deputy Permanent Representative of the President of Ukraine in the Autonomous Republic of Crimea. Also joining us is Iryna, Tykhomyrova, President of MIM Business School, and also joining us is Oleksii, Radchenko, Reintegration Management Program graduate, Head of the Department for Control of Local Tax Revenues, Bilohorodka Village Council, Bucha District, Kyiv region. So we remember the program was founded by the Representative Office of the President of Ukraine in Crimea, with the support of MIM Business School. So let's talk about the results. Let's talk about the training. How was it going on? Who are the graduates? What is the number of students who graduated? Mr. Olga, the floor is yours. Well, good afternoon. Sorry, good morning. It was quite a good experience of implementation of one of the sectors of the reintegration government program, search of the ways for reintegration of deoccupied territories, training of human resource pool, the people who express their leadership qualities, those who express desire to work in deoccupied territories. It's quite important. We are really humbled by the results of this joint program. Well, based on the feedback, the training was quite interesting because it was joined with some business models. There was a psychology track. There were parts that were related to management, government management and administration that provided the students with the skills of project management in governance. And this is what the students were stressing. Also, the speakers were quite interesting because our partners invited such prominent government officials who take some high government offices or used to take such offices, or representatives of big business who were sharing their experience. And it was the practical component which played a crucial role, because when people tell about the application of the knowledge in practice, it means that that knowledge can be applied in practice and may result in certain achievements. On our end, we were supporting the participants to the best extent possible. So we were advising on the speakers who can be involved. We helped to build the program. We were engaging the representatives of civil organizations who have experience of work with the residents of the temporarily occupied territories. Also, we were inviting representatives of different ministries who have experience in, for example, social sector, representatives of Ministry of Social Policy, representatives of Office of the President of Ukraine who have practical experience of building, say, for example, military administration. So again, we use the successful experience of implementation of different projects and programs, and the unique feature of this project is the unification of different experiences for the sake of the occupation of temporarily occupied territories. Thank you very much. So, Ms. Iryna, let's talk about the training course, the number of graduates, probably some cases, processes that turned out to be interesting during the training itself. So, what was something less ordinary that happened that you remember, that the students remember? What was the feedback from the students? What was the most interesting and useful for them? Thank you very much for your question. I would like to say that this program was quite important. It raised significant interest. We've got more than 20 applications for the program, and we had to invite 100 persons. But we've decided to make it 105. So our internal indicator was that we were planning to graduate at least 80 experts. So the graduation ceremony is tomorrow. Formally, the program is not yet over, and the number of graduates is 99. So it's almost 100% result. Well, obviously, the life is such that our program, well, out of those 99 graduates, 94 will be awarded with the graduation certificates, and 5 more persons will be awarded with the participation certificates. Those are the students who were not able to comply with some requirements. First of all, their graduation works. Some of them were drafted to the armed forces. Some of them were not able to complete the course due to the busy nature of their work. But we had a peer-to-peer assessment system where the students were able to access each other's input, and basically the award ceremony will be happening tomorrow. So we were meeting before the program have started, and before the start of our training in the channels of Telegram, there was it was not a campaign but mentionings of the fact that the Ukrainian side is preparing personnel, is training the human resource pool to work in the deoccupied territory. So again, it raised their interest. But now the teams are already there, and what's different about this program is that we were not training individual specialists, but we were training the expert teams, the governance expert teams. In the end, the students were picking the topic of their project. We had 20 projects. They were completely different. They were about Donbass and Crimea. It was about education, reestablishment of justice, reestablishment of entrepreneurship activity. I mean, you name it. But it was the people working in teams, people who never met each other before. And it was interesting to see how they start cooperating, how they work shoulder to shoulder. And the result is not only the knowledge and the skills that they obtain, but there is also the governance experts team. The committee has picked 5 of the best of them, and tomorrow they will be awarded the graduation certificates, and 25% of the best graduates will be awarded with the special certificates, meaning that they were the best in their projects. Well, it's quite an interesting idea that the grade. What are the offices that you would recommend the graduates do after the deoccupation? Well, I think they could take absolutely different offices, and I think that again it's incredibly important. In fact, they are the universal soldiers, universal warriors who can work in different sectors whatsoever. And the fact that it's a team is even better, because when there is a team coming whose representatives can work in different sectors, and even if they start working both in local business, it would be quite good too, because it's such a team, it's such a community, I would say, a community that aims to reinvigorate the life of like Ukrainian life in business, culture, sports, education, and as long as they know each other, as long as they have common values, as long as they know who's worth what, they know, they trust each other, they speak the same language, so to say. And I think that success of such governance teams in the occupied territories will be absolutely overwhelming. I have no doubts about it. 80% of the people who were taking part in this program are originating from temporarily occupied territories. But there are such who have experience of the occupation because, for example, they originate from Svyatogorsk, Donetsk region, which was under occupation and now was occupied, and they may bring some input about the experience of the occupation. And when we were working in projects, there was no like Crimean or Luhansk or Svyatogorsk project. It was like a team of people who are curious about the topic, who are ready to bring their expertise. And we were creating those teams like Crimean Tatar representatives, Luhansk region, Donetsk region, like those Crimean Tatar group representatives. They were telling about the rebirth of Crimean Tatar culture after the occupation of Crimea. And what's interesting, it was not only the participants of the program who were invited for presentations, but also the representatives of territorial communities, local administrations. The teams were invited. So during thesis presentation, there were about 100 persons watching the ceremony, and after that we were asked to provide the presentations. We were asked to provide the context of the graduates, because for the representatives of local administrations it was very interesting. We had a logistic project that piqued the interest of the local communities. They were asking us, give us the context so we could continue working with these people. So basically the program is of practical meaning, but there are super tasks that were set by our partners, the tasks that were discussed before we were even conceiving this program. It was like for us to create not only the training course, but to establish the effective expert teams who are ready to work in the occupied territories. And I think that tomorrow we will award the diplomas. We will have a little celebration tomorrow. We're preparing, including the safety measures, because I can imagine if the enemy was irritated by the start of the program, well, we can only imagine what may happen during the graduation, but we're prepared. Well, thank you, Miss Iryna. And now I would like to give the floor to the following panelists. To Mr. Oleksii, please share your experience. What was interesting for you? Well, thank you very much. I would like, first of all, to thank everybody's input who took part in establishment and putting together the course. You know, the topic of the occupation is present today, and all the issues that are about to arise after the deoccupation of Ukrainian territories. There, you know, the number of the problems are numerous, and they are all currently are not so well discussed. And talking about my personal motivation, I wanted to get special skills, special knowledge in the sector of reintegration. It's something new to me. I never worked with this problem before, but before 2014 I was born, and I have been working and living in Autonomous Republic of Crimea, and for me it's a personal challenge, and I think I have to take part in bringing Ukrainian social back to Crimea after its deoccupation. What was the project that you've picked under your training course, and why? Well, our team Well, first it just happened so that all of the members of my team are hailing from Crimea, and we've picked the topic of reestablishment of justice system in the occupied territories, in the occupied Crimea and the city of Sevastopol. The matter is that the reestablishment of justice is one of the key elements of reintegration processes, because reestablishment of Ukrainian legal space, Ukrainian justice, is one of the key tasks of the government that are contemplated by Constitution. And since we are a team of advisors with legal background, these topics seem to be the closest one for us, something that we could cover under our consulting project. Thank you very much, dear colleagues. If you have any questions on the floor, please let me know. Meanwhile, I'm having a question to our panelists. Ms. Olha, we understand that the need for human resource pool is described in different numbers by different experts, but the amounts are like 50,000 plus specialists who are supposed to be ready to proceed to work immediately. We understand it was the first pilot course. What are the plans? What do you plan to implement? We definitely understand that we should step up our pace here. Well, 50 plus thousand is the number necessary for Crimea only. On top of that, a lot of territory remains occupied. Those figures need to be verified. We need to get better understanding what is the number of experts that we need in our government offices to work after the occupation of Ukraine. And when we were doing the calculations, we were not only taking into account like public servants, but we're talking about different people: medical sector, education sector, local governance. But it's clear, and I think it's the right approach, to train the people who can work in any field whatsoever and take whatever office, because having the knowledge of this governance, understanding the reintegration processes, that knowledge can be applied in any sector. Currently, we're cooperating with the government component. We're putting together the human resources pool in a legal sense, because every ministry is supposed to approve the list of rules for putting together the human resources pool and start building it. Well, the first project was in cooperation with NUTS. It was the human resource pool of public servants for work in the occupied territories. It has no expiration term. It's been populated slowly but steadily, and there are 2,500 plus applications that are already verified. And sometimes as we look for the people for our representative office, we ask them, we get in touch with those people, and we offer jobs for them. Well, there is a human resource pool in the medical education sector, and it's recently approved in social sector. That's one axis, so to say, when we may contact people who wish to become public servants or even become part of the human resource pool for the government. But again, there is the government demand, and there is a part of or like partially implemented project with the Shevchenko University. Another project was implemented with MIM Business School, our partners, and also we were talking about the requests coming from educational institutions like Karazin University in Kharkiv, who contacted us, and we work on the government program with them. We train the people with some specialization, like a bachelor's diploma, magister diplomas, because again, there's a number of ways, the number of tools, and it's important to make sure that their integration and the skills that our teams have, our partners with whom we work for a long time have to make sure that they're integrated in the training program, because what my colleagues say about the reintegration is true. There are teams, we are all part of it, we talk about reintegration, but in fact, as we walk out of our own bubble, we understand that a lot of people are somehow involved in reintegration processes. They establish some art events, readings, or culture. They implement cultural programs or projects. They involve a lot of other people. That's part of their professional work, but there is no systemic nature of it. And as we provide the systemic nature to those processes, the things get better. For example, talking about Crimea, there are 3 indigenous people. The biggest one is Crimean Tatars, and they're the most widely mentioned. Some of them were forced to move to continental Ukraine, but there are also Karims and Krimchaks. And it's important to talk about how big Ukraine is. Every region has its peculiarities, and this is exactly the issues that we were trying to integrate in a training course so that the reintegration processes are better understood for the graduates. On top of that, we have huge experience of analysis of the challenges to be faced by the state after the occupation of those territories. Crimea has been occupied for 10 years, and it resulted in a lot of issues such as lack of passportization, lack of access, all of the paperwork that was staying in Crimea unfortunately issued Russian standard paperwork that is issued by the occupational administrations, and the government officials need to understand that, okay, that paperwork is in place, but we have to do something, and the government has a vision what to do about it, how to work with that issue. And now, as we communicate with other partners who unfortunately have experience with occupation, with those regions that were partially occupied after the year 2022, they also report to us with the requests like this, like how to work with those people, what are the documents that they have, what are the conditions they're living, how to work with those people. So the unification about the reintegration process gives us understanding of what we are supposed to do next. So it's systemic, so it's a common approach by all the participants of the process. So getting back to the joint project with MIM Business School, is there going to be a second training course? Well, we have to talk to donors. It's not up to us completely. It depends on the donors. The project was supported by USAID, and definitely we're ready to talk about it. I think there is a number of things to be added to the project. I think that we have common understanding, common vision of success of this project, but again, it also depends on the donors. The donors' representatives will be present at the graduation ceremony tomorrow. They will witness how we were working within this half-a-year training program. Also, we only have grades. Then we have to have the questionnaires filled, and then we'll present all of the materials to the donors. Well, and talking about the capacity, are you ready to increase the number of the students on the second training course? Well, we are ready to any developments. You know, we were discussing that this program was online, and we were confident about the online mode. We were enlisting people from all over Ukraine. As I said, 80% of them were the representatives of the temporarily occupied territories in basically Crimea, Donetsk and Luhansk regions, 80% of them. And even talking about Kyiv, when people were coming from Kyiv, they were still saying they were hailing from Donetsk or Luhansk. You know, I'm from Kyiv myself. And that's why online program in this format: war, blackouts, air raid alerts, situation in the front lines. You know, on one end, it was the only program possible for training, and the students, if they were not able to get online, they could review the lectures in offline mode. But what I'm thinking about is actual offline meeting, offline work. It adds more confidence, it adds more trust, and probably the following program would contemplate more offline activity in other formats to enable the students to act more natural, to be themselves more. And I'm confident we have to continue this work. We've already trained 100 people. Even if they are in reserve, even if they are staying standby, they will wait to be called to some work, and it would be right to continue working with them, to invite them for some lectures, some activities, some meetings as mentors, as speakers, so they don't lose this energy of unity. Because this energy of unity is something that we do together, the fact that we're doing good things together, that we're ready to work in the occupied territories in order not to lose this space. Because if we think about this program to continue, we will need to add this unity component. Well, thank you very much for the great job that you're doing. Hopefully all of our ministries and central government agencies will join those initiatives and start building human resource pools that are about to help us in solution of important challenges that we are about to face in the context of the occupation of our land. Thank you very much. And obviously I would like to thank our armed forces, thanks to whom we have an opportunity to hold events like this. Let's continue working together for our victory. And I would like to thank our partners, the Permanent Representative Office of the President of Ukraine in the Republic of Crimea, our students, our donors, because this program is an MIM business school program, but it would not have existed without everyone else's input. We would not be able to establish this training course without the Representative Office of the President of Ukraine in Autonomous Republic of Crimea. And we were inviting all the speakers, the representatives of selection committees. You know, this program, this is a joint product. And again, it's a very good example of educational product. It's a very good example of cooperation between an educational institution and a government agency working together. It's not like it's a government order that was fulfilled by a business, but that was the joint work that was going for half a year. Thank you very much, dear friends. Please stay tuned. At 12 o'clock we will discuss another program, multiple citizenships. So stay tuned. Glory to Ukraine.